We're going to talk about all the Fox Body Mustangs that they've made, and I have a gentleman named Dale here, and Dale actually restored Fox Bodies, is that correct?
I've done a couple, yeah. I have my wife's, and I have an 84 SVO that I did.
So if you could kind of take us down the line here of all of the Fox Bodies that you guys have and just kind of go over the basic information about maybe each one that you think would be important per year.
I'll do my best.
Awesome, awesome. And what are we looking at right here?
Okay, so this is a 1979. I personally know the owner of this car. Okay. This car has been MCA restored, Mustang Club of America. This is a concourse restored car.
Gotcha.
So what you see on here is 1979 stuff, and this was the first year with what they call the egg crate grill. A lot of times somebody will call it.
I hear they say four eyes all the time.
Okay, so they call about the four eyes is because we got four headlights.
Four headlights.
It's the first Mustang other than a 70 to have four headlights.
Okay.
And the Fox Body community just started calling them four eyes to identify from 79 to 86 cars. Later, in 87, when they changed the headlights, then they called them the Aero cars.
And we'll get to those here in just a minute.
Right, exactly.
Now, what would be the engine option here the first year for the Fox Body?
This is a 302, 5-liter, if you will, 2-barrel. I think it made all of 175 horsepower. Good old emissions and no horsepower by 79. Technically, this is a 3-speed with an overdrive, so, I mean, it's 4-speed, but it's not a 4-speed. But you could get them with 4 speeds, you could get them with an automatic. There was 4-cylinder, 2.3 overhead cam engines available. I believe there was a V6 option. That was I want to say it's a 3.8. I can't remember if it was a 2.8 or a 3.8 V6. Some of the years you could get a 200 straight 6-cylinder also.
Now, in 1979, did they offer this as a fastback version, or was the notchback only one?
Nope, they had, in 79, you could get a coupe like this, or you could get the hatchback. The Gias, they had a Gia option, like some of them, like the early Mustang 2s, some of the Mustang 2s had Gia options.
Okay.
So most of those came with a vinyl top, a couple added amenities, probably air conditioning, and not necessarily power windows or power door locks, but maybe, you know, in a rare instance, somebody might order that in one of these.
Now, I'm seeing here, this one has 4 lugs. Was there a 5-lug option in 75 at all, or was this kind of like the only one that you could get?
So, later down the line, I will explain 4-lug and 5-lug, but all Mustangs from 79 to 1993 were 4-lug wheels.
Originally?
Originally.
Base, basically?
Yes.
Okay. There
will be 2 exceptions to that, which we will get into later on in a couple years.
Let's move over to the 80. And so this one still has the same 4 eyes in the front, basically.
Correct.
Okay.
Same front end, nothing different there. Basically, they were unchanged. There really was no big differences or anything. Same engine options.
Other than the fastback on this one.
Right. Now this one, here it is, the 200 inline 6.
Gotcha.
Is this your car?
My brother's.
It's your brother's. Right. Yes, that's right. That's right. He has a straight 6. Yes. Now this has an interesting aftermarket option. And that is this Mustang.
Parker, by the way.
Tom Healy.
And that is this Mustang piece between the taillights where you would normally have the license plate.
Oh.
And that piece goes there, and you had to relocate your license plate.
Now, forgive me, did you say that was an option?
No, it was an aftermarket piece.
That was an aftermarket piece?
Yes.
Okay.
If you can find one of them today, good luck. So it's a chicken tooth.
Okay, gotcha.
So to speak. Now, and as I was saying earlier, this is a Gia. Now, this is on a hatchback. Now, if you got a Gia hatchback, you didn't get a vinyl top.
Oh.
That was only on the coupes.
Only on the coupes.
Yes. This has Ford louvers on it because I know that because of how many slats there is.
And how many is there?
There's 12, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, I'm sorry. 13 slats. All the aftermarket ones have less, like that black one down there. Craig's has. Craig, yours are factory ones, correct? Yeah, okay.
Wow, I didn't even know there was a difference in the amount of louvers on the back of these cars.
Yes.
That's insane.
There is so many. Now, this car is all original. It is unrestored.
I see that. It looks all original.
So it has, what's that?
Sure.
No, well, okay.
We can. I mean, is there anything you can?
No.
Oh.
This has a velour interior, and it's an automatic.
Yes, this has, yeah, there you go. Now, Now this has the velour interior, automatic,
what does that mean?
with a console.
Is that the
type
fabric?
of material? Yeah.
Gotcha.
The type of material. Whereas this one has vinyl and what we call houndstooth cloth, and that's the original to this. Now this car does not have a console.
I see that, no console
But
in there. And that
this one does. That was kind of an optional thing too.
Were they like a? I know that the Mustang 2s were kind of luxurious or something like that. Were these kind of the same?
They were
under
built.
the same?
There was a lot of the same like that. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of luxury. Now, one of the differences to tell between a 79 and an 80, a quick difference for me.
Yes.
79 door handles on the inside are clear down here at the bottom at the floor.
Okay, and then where they
and from there on up, they were up at the top of the door, as you can see right there.
And the lock is.
And the lock is on the
right here.
is right at the armrest. And these wheels, these are actually wheels. They're not hubcaps. Some guys refer to them as F-150 wheels because there was a hubcap on the later F-150s that looked just like those. Now moving on, this one is modified.
This one looks a lot. I mean, it looks like it's been restored almost.
Been a little bit restored. It's a little bit modified. This is more of a. This is a.
More of it looks.
They
like
did not
sport-
have a GT at the time.
Okay,
Until that one.
gotcha. In '82.
In 80, in 79, 80, 81, you did have the front end. It was like this. Now, there's no pace cars here to look at, but this was what we called the pace car front end, kind of.
The front end on this car, I want to see, Brandon, if you can come out here and show them.
This is, well,
It's a lot
okay,
more-
so this is actually a Cobra front end.
Oh, so it's not original to this car?
I don't know. I don't know if this is a real Cobra or not. That I couldn't tell you.
Gotcha. Okay.
But the hood scoop is a large fiberglass bolt-on piece that bolts onto a normal flat hood just like that.
Oh, it's bolted on.
Yes.
Yeah, I see that.
Yep, this is bolted on.
Now, are these wheels the original wheels on this car?
No, these are actually later, probably the replicas from a 1993 Cobra Mustang.
They looked a little bit newer than the
As
rest of
is
the
that
car.
emblem is the same way. Now he has the Cobra, and these stripes would have been factory.
Okay. The blue.
Now, I believe these are painted on, not the tape stripes like factory. With the blue vinyl interior. Now this one's an automatic. Now this is an 81, so it would have had, if it's a V8, in 81, Ford decided, I don't know what the idea was, but it may be a 255 cubic inch V8 instead of the 302.
In 81.
And they were horrible motors. Anybody gets one, the only reason they want one is to absolutely restore a car to correct concourse. Otherwise, just tear it out, put a 302 in.
Now, I do see here that this one says Cobra on it.
Correct.
And that was this the first year for the Fox Body that you could get a Cobra?
No, actually, they were available starting in 79.
In '79.
You get 79, 80, 81.
And what is the back end? I see it's got a
Now the
spoiler
back
on
end
this
has
one
the
and-
spoiler on. That's for the Cobra option, and the pace car replicas use the same spoiler.
And what year did the pace car replicas start?
They were 1979s only. They were, I believe the production number was supposed to be somewhere around 10,000 units. Those are all, if you got the buck tag, which is on the radiator support, and I could probably show you on that black car if it has it, what I'm talking about there, but it's in the serial number, you know it's an actual pace car. I actually have one of them at home. I'm restoring for my wife.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So,
would there be a tag on this car over here?
maybe. Craig, do you got the buck tag on yours?
Should be. It's all original, brother.
I know it is. That's why I'm asking you. I know this car a little bit because I know the owner.
Awesome. And this is an '82 Mustang Ford GT.
This is 82 GT. This is the first year Ford brought the GT back since 1969. The slogan was "The Boss is Back," and they would always show the GTs.
And so where would this tag be that we were talking about?
Right there.
Oh, wow. See, did not.
This car is probably 95+% original.
And what is your name, sir?
Craig.
Craig? Are you the owner of this car?
Yes.
Awesome. My name's Parker, and we're just kind of going over what the differences are between the Fox bodies here. And I never knew that the tag was, I would have looked at this car 100 times, probably skipped over that. I wouldn't have even known that was there.
A lot of people do that.
This year was a 2-barrel, 157 horse rated at.
2-barrel 157. Now I see the grill on this one and this one are basically the same.
Correct. Yes.
And
Now he has a different hood scoop.
a different hood scoop.
Correct.
And that's G82 only.
That's 82 only, that right there?
Now see, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
82 GT is the only year you'll see that. The other ones are red, white, and blue.
Red, white, and blue?
Which I can show you on the hood of the black one.
We'll take a look at it down the road here, I think.
Yeah.
And then this is a bolt-on hood scoop also, right?
Correct.
Is there anything on the interior that's different on this car? And oh, it looks like it's got a beautiful interior in it. Look at that.
Oh
Black.
yeah, this car is so nice.
So far, this is the best. I mean, I like the.
Yes, now that is, and that's a different steering wheel. I mean, one of the, is that the GT wheel? Yeah.
So that is a GT wheel on
Yep,
there.
and this is a
They
4-speed.
have different styles.
An S-Rod 4-speed, single rail overdrive is what that stands for.
Well, let's move on down here to the 83.
Okay. Well, yeah, this has a TR. These would have.
What does that mean?
Okay, so TRX was a package that Ford had, supposedly different shocks and springs,
It's like a handling
like a
package.
suspension package. With these,
Dampering.
yeah, better sway bars.
Okay.
Had these wheels, and the original wheels. You got originals or you got 16s?
Those are.
These are metric sized wheels, not 15-inch, not 16-inch. They are 390s, right? 390 millimeter wheels diameter.
I see that. Wow.
So you have to buy Michelin. Michelin was the only company basically that made the tires. They are now available reproduction tires, and Late Model Restoration is making an aftermarket version of these in a 16-inch.
What would this convert over to? Like, what are these ones?
I
back
saw
here?
a guy shove a 14-inch tire on one of these wheels one time, and I left the shop when he started putting air in it.
Okay, all right. So we want to stick with what it came with then.
TRX
Right?
suspension also has like traction bar, like when you launch.
What they call a slapper bar.
Yeah,
Slapper bar?
They have a
Oh,
slapper
okay.
bar that it sticks out.
Down underneath.
If you can see it, there's a big rubber bushing underneath the.
Oh, right there it is. Right there it is. Okay, I see it right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right there.
So wow, that kind of came with factory ladder bars back.
Yeah, kind of so. Yeah, it just come up against the control
I
arm.
never knew
That's
that.
the TRX. Now they made the GT without that option.
Okay.
This was a TRX option.
I would have never. Thank you for that. I just love
There's so
information
many options
like
that I
Yeah.
can't keep straight. That's why I was glad he stuck around.
That's my third one of these, so I'm no familiar with the 82.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna skip on down here to the 83.
All right.
Thank you so
No
much.
problem. Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Craig. So in '83, they changed the front end.
Still 4 eyes.
Still 4 eyes, 4 headlights. They changed the grille in the center. This is a 5-liter car.
Is there anything on the outside that changes on this car between an 83 and an 82 maybe, or anything?
Basically the grille and
grill?
and the hood. Now he has a different hood scoop. The hood scoop looks the same, faces backwards.
I was going to say it's different.
Yes.
It is backwards.
Yep.
Compared to the left.
That has caused more arguments on Facebook pages than a little bit.
And what exactly is the argument? I love getting into
Which way
arguments
it's
on
supposed to
Facebook.
face.
Oh, okay. So
Because
80,
guys will take them hood scoops and they'll turn them around and put them the other way, and it'll cause all. I've seen guys getting arguments about which way it's supposed to go.
and you
It
can
is
get
crazy.
turbos. And
Yes, you could get a. Yes, you could get a 4-cylinder with a turbo, a
And-
2.3 with a turbo.
What year did that start?
They were available in the '79 pace cars,
Okay.
the '79, '80, and '81 Cobras. And then I think they were available even later than that, weren't they, Craig? If I remember right, even just as a regular option, you didn't have to have a GT or anything like that. The girl that owns the black one, the first '79 down there,
Okay.
she is restoring a coupe. It's just a coupe, but it has a turbo 4-cylinder with an automatic in it.
Oh wow.
And it is like one of a couple of cars. She got what they call the Marty report.
Right.
If everybody knows what that is.
Yep.
She got the Marty report on this car, and it's like one of only a few built like this. So she's restoring. The car is white. I believe it has a red interior in it, if I remember right. And
well, let me ask you, while we're looking at the trunk of this car, the Four Eyes Fox bodies, are they coming up in value? Are they going down in value? Where would you say that they are kind of? He's pointing up. He's saying they're going up.
The Four Eyes are starting to come up a little more.
Okay.
But I mean, overall, across the board, all the Fox bodies are just coming up.
I've seen a lot more younger people at this show interested in Fox bodies, just walking around, and that's kind of why I wanted to make this.
An 82 GT just sold at Macon for 40,000.
So an 82 GT just like this one for 40 grand at Mecum?
Is that where it was? I didn't see it.
I actually talked to the guy here yesterday.
Did you?
Oh,
yeah,
you did?
Yeah,
No
he was there.
kidding.
He said, yeah, I just bought one of these in April with Mecum. I said, one for 40? He said, yeah. Then he's telling me about the car.
And what are you used to thinking that your car, or maybe in your mind what that car would have brought or something? Like
10, 12, good number.
well, Fox Body Market must be.
But yeah,
The Fox body market has exploded in the last, what, 5-6 years?
And what would you guys attribute that to?
Guys my age,
Yeah, our generation.
our generation
coming into-
having finally the money, the kids, if you've had kids, they're out of the house, they're gone. So now I've got the money to spend on a car that I wanted, that I couldn't afford when I was 18.
And you're not interested in like an old Mustang or anything.
Well, with that being said, I also own a 66. He
Oh,
had a
okay.
65 fastback.
Okay, so you guys still support the muscle, you know,
Yes.
that kind
Oh,
of stuff.
absolutely. Yeah.
We're getting distracted. Let's go back to All right, so the 83s. All right, the
So
rear end on this
83, they changed the taillights from
Oh, yeah,
what
it
those look like to these. And are these 83 taillights, Sam? These are 83s, yeah. Yeah.
Are they all interchangeable, I guess, because you said that?
Yes and no. Technically no, because the holes for everything to mount up and mount the light bulbs through is a little bit different in that tail panel compared to this one.
Okay.
So I've seen guys do it, but you're cutting holes, you're cutting sheet metal to make everything fit right.
Now I see the one over here. This is the 84, and believe it or not, I actually owned an 84 at one time. It was a 5.0.
Okay.
That's the only Fox body I've ever owned. It was a fun car
Well,
to drive.
this
it was
is-
maroon, and this one looks like it's a Shelby or something.
This
right?
is also, so this is a GT 350.
Okay, so it's not a Shelby.
It's not a Shelby. Shelby sued for it, as a matter of fact,
Really?
over the GT 350 thing.
Okay. So this
And-
car has the same front end
Yes.
as the last one that we just took a look at.
So this has the same front end, yes. Now, if you notice, you look at Sam's front end below the rub strip, and you look how deep this one is.
Oh, it's deeper.
See how it comes down? Plus you have the fog lights.
So it's just, yeah, it does look a little bit more aggressive, I guess, is kind
Yes.
of what you would
Yes,
say.
exactly. They started doing that in '84 then mostly. From
then-
there up. And this also came with the TRX suspension.
And would it have that bar underneath there, the ladder bar as well?
Yes.
This one does not. Doesn't look like it. Or maybe it does, I just can't see it. Ugh. Yeah.
Oh wait, you're right. Sam pointed something out. I forgot. I was thinking. I'm used to my SVO.
I know. That's why I say that.
I will explain this later. So what happened is later on, yeah, what they did was they went to a quad, what everybody calls a quad shock suspension. There's literally another shock absorber. This that is,
Oh, it's like sideways.
yes, and it acts as a, what do you want to call it? Instead of the slapper bar coming against the control arm,
It kinda
it
goes-
just
goes
keeps it
backwards.
from going anywhere the same way.
I've never seen that before. That's
Yes.
That's interesting. Is that
a
only
lot of
on-
guys will remove them now later to get wider tires and wheels on because they get
Makes
in the way,
sense.
and they'll put different control arms on that work better, and they don't need it then.
And what years would that extra
They
extra shock
started
been on?
so they started this in '84, and that went all the way up to '93.
all the way up. Okay.
Yep.
And this one's an automatic,
This one is an automatic.
and we can give them a rundown here of.
That is the window sticker for this car.
Trying
The
to see when
gentleman that owns this car, I don't see him around at the moment.
it was $16,161. So that was that expensive back then?
I mean, Yes,
That was before me.
because, I mean, you look at, you could buy a regular GT for 10.
For 10. And so this was the GT 350.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, and
What
and they
happened
were,
with the lawsuit with Ford?
Well, they were using the GT 350 name, and Shelby still owned that. So he
So
got
they
upset,
lost.
and yeah, so they quit making them. I forget how many was even made.
It doesn't say.
And remember, see if he
sometimes-
has it. I can't remember the production number on these. This is one of 670
607.
of the V8 of a V8 convertible. Now this comes back to the 4-cylinder turbo that you could also get in one of these.
You could get a GT 350 with a different engine option in it.
Yes, these would come, you could also get one of these with a 2.3 with a turbo. This one's an automatic, but then they came with, I believe they were 4 speeds. No, they were 5 speeds then. By 84, in 84, then they went to a T5 5-speed.
Got you. Okay.
And that was for
That's the transmission that a lot of modern people are familiar with.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
So we'll switch over to the
Now,
85 over here.
This one I can give you a little more information on because this is an 85. I own an 84 that is down in the building.
Okay, and I seen that they have a building called the SVO building over there.
Correct.
What does that mean?
SVO stands for Special Vehicle Operations. It was Ford's skunk works, if you will.
Gotcha. Okay. Basically, they just made whatever they wanted, kind of deal.
Well,
that's kind of the way I look at it.
They wanted to develop a Mustang for a European Mustang. Ford did not market this car very well at all to the public or their dealers. They really didn't. Half the time, the dealers didn't understand what they had. These cars are a lot of differences.
Is it? So this is an SVO.
This is an SVO.
Okay.
It comes back to the 4-cylinder turbo. That was the big thing. Now the big difference is, whereas you could get any of these other ones with a 4-cylinder turbo, these were 4-cylinder intercooled turbos. So it added a few more horsepower. It was fuel injected. It was, whereas the first original ones, they were carbureted. So they were a blow-through carburetor turbo. No, I'm sorry, they were a draw-through carburetor sitting on top of the turbo.
Now,
A lot of guys didn't like it because they had a habit of catching on fire when they get hot.
before we kind of go through this car, I want to start with the front end, like we have
Okay,
the other
so
ones here, because it does look different than everything else
So
we've talked about
an
so far.
SVO front end
Oh, they're different.
is completely different. Now they made SVOs for 1985. They made 400, and I believe it was 26, 85 and a half cars, and then 1986.
That makes this one pretty rare then.
Yes. This is a 1985. The U.S. government was still not allowing plastic headlights that the rest of the world was using. We still had to use glass sealed beam headlights.
Yep, I see
So that is why these headlights are in here and sunk back in, because the other ones are just turn signals and parking lights. This whole nose is different. It has the Marshall fog lights, just like that GT350 does actually.
But it has no, the lights right here are gone.
No lights right there though, no.
Yep.
All the side marker lights and front lights were up high.
Yep.
This intercooler was fed by this hood scoop.
Oh, that's pretty cool, Scoop.
Yeah, and it sits offset, so it's not in the center of the hood. So I get the question, why is your hood scoop offset? And some days I just look at people and I say, well, that's just where I felt like putting it. And the hood itself is completely different too, because the whole hood comes down to fill in this section.
What about the interior?
So the interior on an SVO, these are
They look comfy.
not Recaro.
Corbeau?
I can't remember now. But these are different seats, different material, completely. These have
Bride. Maybe they're bride seats?
no.
they're
I
probably-
want to say Recaro.
They're probably Recaros because it's
I think they
Ford.
are.
Yeah.
So the seats and the foam are completely different.
They look really nice.
They are really comfortable. The shifter is a T5, but it is a Hurst T5 that Ford put in at the factory. The leather on the handbrake and the steering wheel itself and the center pad is different from
Yeah, see it says SVO on there.
from an 85.
What about the louvers or what's
So
this wing
this
is completely
is
radical.
a bi-wing spoiler. This is an 84, 85, 86 SVO thing only.
Oh, so this is SVO only.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Now
okay.
these are aftermarket. Ford made these and they're great, but they would tend to sag.
Oh,
the aftermarket has figured out a couple different ways to make supports to hold them up, and nobody gets any upset about seeing those. The SVO taillights. Now, if you look at his, they're 84. These are the same taillights with pinstripes on them.
I was going to say they look exactly the same, but they're not. And you're right, they have the line.
They have the
They
pinstripe.
have the line, and it makes it look a lot different.
And to make it even more interesting, we stopped the middle one right here, and that's the way they're supposed to be. Now, I will show you another trick to this.
Sure.
Come 1993.
Okay.
The big difference on these cars, all the suspension is different.
Okay.
You have Coney adjustable shocks. You get a knob. You literally stick it on the shock right here on the strut. You can turn it and you can adjust it softer, harder.
Makes it easy.
Bigger brakes on the front. And remember you asking me about 4-lug wheels?
Yeah.
And I said all of them had 4-lug wheels except
Yep.
5-lug wheels.
That's the
These are
SVO.
the only Fox bodies with 5-lug wheels. And 4-wheel disc brakes, thank you. Yes. This is the first Mustang to have 4-wheel disc brakes.
1985 Ford Mustang.
1984 technically.
Oh,
Yes.
technically.
Yes, because this is an 85, but like I said, they started these in 84. Ford projected they were going to sell 10,000 of these cars a year. They did not sell 10,000 in 3 years. There's 9,000 in whatever it was. I can't remember the total number, but it was 9,000 couple over a 3-year period. These things handle amazing, even in their stock form.
Well, if you were to find one of these in a barn or clapped out somewhere, I'm noticing this does have the tag down in the front there. Is that
Yes.
tag there on all of the Fox Body Mustangs?
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
or it should be.
It should be. At least
Yeah.
that's where you would look. I mean, I'm a Chevrolet guy personally.
Okay.
And used to tags being on the car. And
Yeah, right.
So that would,
That's where
that,
a lot.
that would be
Ford
where to
put
look.
most of theirs right up on that radiator support.
Is there anything on there that would say SVO?
You know, to be honest, I don't remember if it says SVO on it, and this one's actually on backwards.
It is backwards. I was noticing that. It says Mustang
There
on
is,
there.
but with that being said, there's a letter in the VIN
That tells
that
you.
denotes this engine versus a regular GT with a turbo 4-cylinder.
Now,
It's a different engine.
As the owner of an SVO Mustang, what is like a trading ballpark figure price for something like this?
This one,
In this condition, just like the one we're looking at right here,
15 to 20.
15 to 20.
Yeah,
Is
easy.
that up or down than where it was 3 years ago?
Up a little bit.
Up a little bit.
These cars right here are, pardon my language, the red-headed stepchild bastards of the Fox body world.
Gotcha. Okay.
They really are. Guys today still don't just get it, what these cars are about. These cars were not made like a normal Mustang. You know, you think of a normal Mustang, it's made to go the quarter-mile straight line, let's go. These cars are made to handle. They're made to go around a turn, come out of a turn. When that turbo spools up, it's like reaching down and flipping a nitrous switch, and you're having fun. You better be holding on.
That's awesome.
And I have a ton of fun with my car. I mean, like I said, the whole
Four-wheel
front
disc
suspension
brakes, yep.
is completely different. Even the control arms
Just
are different.
Setting up for handling the Kona
Yes.
shocks.
And I mean, look how far back that 4-cylinder engine sits.
Actually, you're right.
It already weighs less than what you've got for a V8,
Yep.
and it's sitting tight back against that firewall like that. Well,
Do you think this might be a deal, or like the performance for your money is basically what I'm trying to
Well,
say.
see, guys didn't get it.
Okay.
That engine makes the same horsepower as this V8.
Oh, it does.
Yes.
Okay.
But guys didn't see it that way, because why am I spending... Now, I have the window sticker for my 84. It was $16,000.
Okay.
You could buy a normal GT, 10 or 12. Why am I spending $4,000 to $6,000 more for a 4-cylinder Mustang? Why do I want a 4-cylinder Mustang?
Well, it's because the hole underneath of the car is different.
But they didn't get it.
Gotcha.
All they wanted to do was go in a straight line.
Dale, I love this so much. Can we just move on over here
Yep.
to the 86 and this
Yep.
one's got
now
some...
this is an 86. This is Dave Salazzo. This is his amazing
Hi, Dave.
car.
Parker, nice to meet you. Yep.
Nice to meet you.
We have mics on, so we won't really be able to hear you, Dave, unless you talk kind of close to us.
No problem.
But what can you tell us about the 86, either one of you?
So there was not a whole lot different between 85 and 86.
On the outside? Or?
On the outside, no.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really think there was anything.
Just
Well,
the
the tail light, the third brake light and the spoiler. Here, I'll show you this. Whereas, you got the third brake light now, the mandated in 86.
Okay.
Whereas that car doesn't have it.
I see that over there. You're right.
So, and then they all had that from there on up, depending on whatever spoiler they had. Tail lights are the same as an 84.
Now I see this one has a single exhaust, and that one has a dual tip. Was that just
Well,
personal
because
owner preference, or was
this is
that...
the 4-cylinder. They all had 85 was the first, and it actually was single to duals.
Yeah, it was a wide pipe.
Right. And then the 86s went to true duals. This is
This
the
does
first
have
year
duals,
for
actually,
true
you're right,
dual exhaust
Okay.
on the Mustang since probably 73.
Gotcha.
And the V8s in those.
Is the interior different at all on this one?
The
or?
interior, as far as I'm concerned, an 85, 86 interior is one of the nicest looking ones.
I'll open the door for you.
Sure.
Especially with the GT. If you got a GT,
Yeah, they rolled out of
now he's got manual windows in this. I didn't realize you had manual windows, Dave.
Manual windows, manual locks.
With the red piping on that gray seat, I think is amazing looking.
I agree
it just
with you.
stands out. T5 transmission. You can see, now there's the difference. That steering wheel looks the same, but the centerpiece is different.
Doesn't say SVO
But
on it.
technically, the whole wheel is different. If you put that wheel in that center, or that center in that wheel, it won't look right.
It's not going to work. Okay.
The centers don't quite match up right.
Yeah. That's an SVO wheel, actually. I put the GT center in.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I found a reconditioned SVO wheel. It was leather.
That must have been a Bob Tweedy. That looks way too good otherwise.
I got out of Houston wheel, I think it's called.
Oh yeah, those guys do a good job.
What engine do we have down in this one again?
So this is
Oh, it's a 5.0
This is a 5.0.
Okay.
Yep.
First year for fuel injection.
First year, yes, first full year for fuel injection. And 85, if you bought a carbureted car in 85 with a V8, you got CFI, which looks like a throttle body carburetor type setup.
I'm also seeing that these are black
Yes.
down here. Is
Okay.
Is that the first year in
So,
86 also?
No,
or-
85 they started doing this.
Okay.
The difference was in 85, all this trim was gray.
Yeah, I painted
In
it.
86,
black.
they changed them to black. Ford changed it to black. The hoods, there was nothing really about the hoods or anything because they were fairly flat. I mean, you
They're
got
flat?
the GT stripe
Oh,
on them,
okay.
on 85 and 86, that I think is one of the best looking hoods out there on a Fox body when you do that to me.
Sure. Absolutely. And
One of the differences I'll point out here, this is standard on basically from like 79 and up or better.
Okay.
This here, the SVOs had this style. They changed that even.
So they weren't louvered basically.
Yeah,
the way
they
that
were
this one
smoothed
is.
out.
Did these change too? Like the numbers?
I don't believe so. I think
guess
they were
not,
all the
'cause
same
they-
from 79 to 86.
They look kind of the same on that one.
Yeah,
down there.
they were. Yep.
Well, thank you for letting us take a look at your car.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Dave.
And we'll go look at this 87 down here. Now it looks completely
Now,
different.
so this is an 87
Okay.
with T-tops. The T-tops were put in. The T-tops were not put in by Ford. They shipped Ford. If you ordered a car with T-tops, Ford took the car off the line, shipped it to, I forget who, and they put the T-tops in.
What engine are we working with on this?
Same
one?
5 liter,
Same
now
5 liter?
rated at 220, 225. 225. And they, I mean, hey, they run great. I guess Ford, that was the last year. And with the 86, that was the last year, what we were talking about earlier, the 4i.
Right.
Now we've got the Aero front ends,
The Aero front end.
the Aero nose cars.
Let's step back here for a
So this is a GT, so you get a different front fascia with the round fog lights in it. Most of them had a different stripe through this center, and you got ground effects the whole way around on an 80, from 87 and up.
That looks, was that functional back there? Yeah, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Little louver, okay. And then these look like they were the same seats as the one in those two too. Are these Recaros also? Or?
No, these are just the factory Ford seats.
Factory Ford seat? Okay.
There was There was a couple different seat height options on the backs, depending on what you got, mostly.
And then this also does have the 4-lug like you were
That's
mentioning.
the 4-lug. Now this is where they changed things again on the body with this big piece of glass versus the small glass and the louvers. They took the louvers away and just put that big glass in. The rear spoiler changed on the hatch to being kind of open versus what that one looks like. Also, the tail lights from 87 to 93, if you got a GT, these were the tail lights. They were painted body color with these covers over top of the, and they also changed the tail lights. You see there's amber in the middle.
Yep.
There's no amber.
There is,
it's all red.
Like that one over there, yep.
Yep, correct.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Dale, going through this with me.
Yeah, it's all the little details really is all there is. I mean, there's a lot of things that when guys say, oh, it's a 79 to 93 Mustang, this will fit. Well, it might fit, but it may not be right. And
that's why we're here.
Exactly. And like I said, I'm restoring a pace car for my wife. I myself forgot how much difference there is from 79 to 82 parts on the interior versus some of the later stuff, because we bought the car with no interior, and that turned into a whole other escapade. We can do that another time.
Yeah, I try to buy the most complete cars that I possibly can. So this is...
So I tell people, when you're buying a specialty car, pace car, SVO, Celine, anything like that, you buy the most complete car you can find. So do as I say, not as I do. We bought a pace car with no interior.
Are these those wheels?
These are Cobra replica wheels. Probably the name of the people making them escapes me at the moment. Now this apparently has a completely different aftermarket engine and transmission in, where, I mean, if it's a GT, it would have basically been the same as that one.
Yeah, I'm noticing this one is a lot more modified, basically.
Yeah, it's a lot of modified, you know, completely different intake and setup.
Not really something that we would want to take a look at as far as originality goes.
Right, correct, yes.
Okay, well, let's move over to the 89 over here then.
Okay, so this 89, Brawl, same front end. The front ends really did not change at all from 87 to 93.
To 93, okay.
Yeah, you know, solid front across there. If you got a GT, you got the solid front like that. I don't know if we have an LX in the house to look at. Yes, we do, coming up. But I mean, other than the intake, I mean, this kind of looks factory. Besides the cold air intake and the intake itself, that's a GT40 tubular intake.
What's the back end on this one look like?
So now the back end on this one should look exactly the same as the white one.
That
red painted
modified.
tail light louvers,
Gotcha,
and the same wing, same aero kit. There really was not a lot. Now this is, what year we said this is in 89?
89.
So this one is, sometimes the guys will call them, it's a 25th anniversary. It has a little horn pony on the dash, and it says 25 years on it.
Oh, right there at the bottom it says it, yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Can't really see it on camera,
now this one has an aftermarket sunroof. I know the owner of this one also. We were just talking about it over the weekend, but somebody had installed an aftermarket.
Like the sunroofs that you would put in like a 70s car.
On down, well, that's basically what it is.
To me it does.
Yes,
I've
and
owned
that's
several
what it
of
is.
them,
Same of, yep, same thing.
Just cut a hole and put it in.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
And hoped it didn't leak.
Right.
On down, there is I see a car with a sunroof from the factory. We can compare differences there.
Gotcha.
So, okay, so here's another difference. This is an 89. So you see the steering wheel.
Now you can't really see it that well.
Okay.
That's okay.
In 1990,
I see the, yep.
Here come airbags.
Airbags.
So now it has a driver's side airbag in the steering wheel, so you got that big center for the airbag. Dashes were the same.
What about the
Pretty
front?
much seat and material options were all the same.
Just little teeny differences between 89 and 90.
From 90 to 93, there's not a lot of differences. You know, now these are all GT front ends.
I see that one has black that goes around it.
Okay, that is my wife's car. I can tell you every nut and bolt about this car.
Let's move on to this one then, because it's a 91.
So this is a 1991. This car is not factory. The engine, however, is all original except for the MSD cap,
yep,
the running pony, and that March Ram Air box. That was an aftermarket piece, whereas guys would put cold air intakes like that red car there. This one is sucking air from the outside right there.
Oh, wow. That's pretty baller down there. I like that.
Yes.
It, gives it that other little extra touch. You
Yes,
know, as a Fox Body owner, I would have completely overlooked that, but I'm glad you point. And that's made by March.
March Ram Air.
March
Yep.
Ram Air. Okay.
This has a fiberglass aftermarket hood on it with a big cowl. These seats, these are the original seats, but not the original seats.
You recovered them.
I recovered these with a Mach 1 style upholstery, airbag steering wheel.
There's that steering wheel that looks the same as the one we were talking about with the airbag in it,
Correct.
right?
That's the airbag steering wheel.
And then your louvers on the back.
Back to louvers. Now these are made by Krager, as in Krager wheels.
Yep.
Krager louvers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 slats.
8 slats, okay.
And
that
they're
would have
bigger.
been
And
obviously aftermarket.
And whereas most of them are all come out here and are squared off, these are rounded. The only ones I've ever seen that do that are the Kragers.
The Krager ones. That
Yep.
They taper like that almost.
Yep.
Okay.
Next one is a 92. This is a special feature car, we call them.
Okay.
The color is vibrant red, whereas this is bright red.
Oh, there is a difference. That
Yes.
one's a darker color.
A darker color. This one is definitely more vibrant. Now,
Yeah,
whereas I talked about the front end and the LX, that's a GT front end, that nose. Here's the LX front end. See how it's got the opening for the grill. When the hood comes down, the hood stops right here, and you got 2 openings.
Yep.
And that's the LX, and it doesn't drop down deep, and it doesn't have any fog lights. So it's more like the older front ends
Gotcha.
from like 85 and 86, etc.
Okay.
Same headlights though. Come back. These wheels are powder coated in like a pearlescent white for these models. The white leather interior was specific to this model. In '88, they changed.
When you say this model, so this was a package or something that
Yes,
you could have got
this was
back
a
then?
package you could get.
Okay.
Yep. In '88, they changed the mirror. In '90, actually in '88, they changed the mirrors on convertibles and T-top cars to what I call flag style. The bolt to the door there versus those.
These ones.
'87 was the last year. If we look at, I didn't think about it. The T-top car down there still has these mirrors mounted right here. I had an '88 T-top car, which was the last year for T-tops. It had the mirrors on like these,
On like
mounted that. So then you're looking for a different door if you don't want to drill holes, and that gets even harder.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yes, these are still 4-lug, white leather interior. The engine was still stock. There was nothing done to the engine.
And I see the spoiler looks a little different too.
The spoiler was different. They were made to go on the convertibles because all these feature cars were convertibles. This has a white convertible top. Very sharp looking car, especially sitting out in a bright sunlight day, in my opinion. But and as these have the LX taillights in
without the
louvers looks on them. Yeah. Actually, the Fox Body community calls them cheese grater taillights.
cheese graters.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So there's a debate there. Do you like cheese graters or don't you like cheese graters?
Well, we'll take a look at the cheese graters on this last year for the Fox Body, and this is 1993.
So this is a 1993.
This is a GT, obviously.
This
We know by the front end. I'm picking it up.
See, there you go.
Yep.
This one is bone stock under the hood by the looks of things, including the air box, even where the air filter would go.
Yep, it says Motorcraft on there.
Yes. These are the original style pony wheels. They were just a silver, stock hood with just a tiny little bit. Where like my wife's car has 4 inches, and this one's about 3/4 of an inch. So now here's a factory sunroof. Sits down in nice and flush. Looks so much better than the
way better
than the other.
I agree with
Correct.
you completely. Yep.
And
it looks factory.
Yes.
And if you've looked at enough cars, you can just tell.
Yeah. And that was, now when I said earlier about guys saying, oh, 79, 93, all the same. That is finally one thing that was all the same from 79 to 93. Any of the sunroof parts are all the same. They all come out and it will interchange.
Same factory sunroof all of those years.
Yep.
Got you. Wow, I would think that they would have at least advanced or something.
You would have thought so,
Yeah.
but they didn't. But, simple hatchback, GT spoiler, rear window defrost even.
Anything different
Here's
other than the cheese graters we talked about on the back
No,
end?
not really.
Basically the same.
By
Kinda like the end
93,
of the line.
Ford had figured out.
They weren't trying to put new pieces and stuff on this
No,
car.
because then in 93, that was it. The Mustang was supposed to be gone. We're gonna give you a whole new Mustang, and they showed us the probe. Sometimes there's a fun joke between Fox Bodies and SN95s. We drive Escorts, they drive probes.
Now that you said that, I don't think I'm going to be able to
now
unsee
you can't unsee
yeah,
it, can
I
you?
think I can't unsee it.
We drive Escorts, they drive
my
probes.
God. Well, Dale, I want to thank you for your time, buddy.
You're welcome. I hope I
hope that it translates all on camera, but I definitely learned a lot going through all of those cars that we just talked about as far as Fox Body goes. I didn't know there was that many differences. Usually when I see them all, I just think that that's just a Fox Body is a Fox Body.
And there's too many guys that still say that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this video will go out there and help some of the younger guys that are trying to get into the Fox Body market. And I hope that we did it justice. And I hope we did. Yep. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yep.